So we are going to cover a new chapter. So basically, we have covered the vector analysis. We completed our survey. And three names are important in complex variable. Renard Euler, Augustine, Louis, Poussy, Bernard, Riemann. So three names are really important in this area, and you probably have learned the complex number in high school, right? 복소수. So anybody who never heard about complex number, raise your hand. So everybody heard about that, right? So very strange numbers. I is called imaginary number. And that actually arose from the very simple question. Question was, is there any number x such that x squared is -1? So someone before Euler actually asked that the same question. Actually, it was, I think, 17th century. About 2,000 years before that question, somebody asked similar questions that x squared was 2. And you know the answer, right? So what is this x? Square root of 2. And do you know who asked this question? Around BC 2nd century. Very famous Greek mathematician. Pythagoras. In Korean, Pythagoras. So Pythagoras actually asked this question about 2,000 years ago. Is there any number x such that x squared is equal to 2? So, and then 2,000 years later, someone, I forgot the name, but according to Google, he seems to be Italian mathematician, asked a similar question, x squared equal to -1. So why those questions are relevant? And that has related to the theory of functions. So these questions are relevant to the theory of functions. For example, very simple, 1 plus x squared over 2 minus x3. Assuming that we have this function, how many mathematical operations are involved? Okay, this is a very simple function, and I would like to ask you a question. How many mathematical arithmetic operations are involved? Arithmetic operations. Arithmetic operations. Simple. Plus, minus, multiplication, division. Those are the 4 basic arithmetic operations. Okay? So here, what is this? Plus, right? This is multiplication. This is division. This is minus. So definition of function, if you want to define a function, that you need to have a variable which can be closed set for 4 basic operations, right? So functions can be defined for a number set which is closed to plus minus cross the number set has to be closed to these 4 basic arithmetic operations, plus, minus, multiplication, and division. So even though this is very simple definition of function, but in order to be able to define functions, you need to have 4 arithmetic operations for a given number. And the first step is to check whether the number system is close to the 4 basic arithmetic operations. The first number system you probably learned is called natural numbers. So you learned about natural numbers when you were first grade, right? 초등학교 1학년. 그때 배웠어요, right? So natural numbers, if you add them together, they become natural numbers, right? You can multiply natural numbers. If you subtract, what happens? It doesn't belong to natural numbers, right? If we divide, it doesn't belong. So we can say that natural numbers is close to only plus and multiplication, right? So can you define arbitrary functions with natural numbers? for functions? Its answer is no, right? So how long the natural number has been known? Another question. How long we have known natural numbers? I mean, we means humans. How long? We might have known natural numbers for a very long time. Say 10,000 years, 100,000 years, perhaps. Simple. I mean, the cavemen or hunters, they hunt rabbit. And the people living in the cave and people living near the sea, they hunt fish. Right? So sometimes hunters and fishermen meet in between and then they decide to exchange rabbit with the fish. So exchange rate is 1 rabbit for 1 fish. Right? So how do you count the rabbit? They probably use 2 fingers, right? 1, 2, 3. So 5 fishes, 5 fingers. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you have 10 rabbits, you can use 2 hands, right? So 2 hands of rabbits can be exchanged with 2 hands of fish. What if you have more than 10? What if you have more than 10 rabbits? Bring your friends, right? So 2 people stand and then count the numbers. So that's why we are using the number system based on 10, because most of us use 10 fingers, right? So if the history has been changed, and instead of us, if the dinosaur evolved, and if we are learning mathematics here, so we are using base 10 numbers, simple. But what if dinosaur is learning mathematics? They might be using base 6 numbers because they have 3 fingers. Then, around 2,000 years ago, maybe a little less, the Indian introduced 0 and negative integers. The set -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, set of integers. Set of integers. So integers are interesting. If -1 plus 3 is 2, right? So it belongs to integer. -1 plus 3 is -3, integers. 2 minus 3 is -1, belongs to integer. 1 divided by 3 doesn't belong to integer, right? So set of integer is close to 2. Plus, cross, minus, but not division. So first set of numbers that is close to the four arithmetic operation is rational numbers. 유리수. So the rational numbers is close to four basic arithmetic operations, right? So the set of rational numbers the first set of numbers that are close to division. So we can define function can be defined finally. It was around BC 5, 10th century BC to BC 5C. And around the same time, the rational number was established about 3,000 years ago. And the Euclid element is one of the first book describing the geometry and rational numbers. That was about BC 5th century. And also in China, 주비산경. So it was written around Ju dynasty, around BC, 10th century. The exact date is not known, but there are two books so far survived that describe the rational numbers. And interesting thing is, the rational number system has appeared around about 10th century, around the same time in the Western civilization and Eastern civilization in the China. And a bit strange, why? Why at the same time the similar mathematics arrived? Taxation. You need to have a formula to collect tax, right? So anybody has paid the income tax? Very complicated formula. You need a formula to get tax. So tax, to collect tax, one need a formula. Formula is a function, right? And in order to have a function, that function has to be, you need a number system that is close to 4 basic arithmetic operations. So about 3,000 years ago, the need of the taxation by the king or ruling class made it necessary to develop the rational number system. So everybody thought the rational number system is perfect, but until the Pythagoras asked the question that x squared is 2. So it cannot be represented by rational numbers, as we know, right? So x is 2. So real number system is something like x plus 2 root to 2, y root to 2, x plus y root to 3, etc., etc. So this is called irrational numbers. And pi is also irrational numbers. And this is called real numbers. So real number system was established by Pythagoras in BC 2nd century. So we had real number systems for maybe close to 2,000 years until the need for the imaginary number arises. So time flies. And then 17th century, somebody in Italian asked the same question, x squared is minus 1. So x is defined as square root of minus 1. And it's called imaginary numbers. And z, x plus iy, is called complex numbers. And set of complex numbers is so the question arises. These complex numbers are close to 4 basic arithmetic operations. So the question is C arithmetic operations. So we can check. So Z1 is, say, x1 plus iy1. C2 is x2 plus iy2. So we can define C1 plus minus C2 as x1 plus iy1 plus minus x2 plus iy2 is x1 plus minus x2 y1 plus minus y2. So apparently belongs to C, right? C1, C2, x1 plus iy1, x2 plus iy2, which is x1, x2 plus iy1, x2 plus, if you multiply this and this, I x1 y2 plus I y1 I y2. You can change this become minus y1, y2. So x1, x2 minus y1, y2 plus I x1, y2 plus x2, y1, and apparently belongs to C, right? So complex numbers are close to addition, subtraction, multiplication. And how about division? Still, am I going too fast a little bit? That's okay. So today I'm just going to introduce the complex numbers and give you time for prepare your quiz. Division. So Z1 we're not so sure whether this is complex number or not, right? So when things are not for sure, what do? We do nothing. So we multiply by 1. Oh, sorry, this has to be 1. x2 minus y2, x2 minus y2. I don't know, but if you multiply something and divide by the same thing, it's always 1, right? No matter whether this is a real number or complex number. So it has to be 1, right? So if you multiply them together, x1, x2, x2, x2 square plus I y2, x2, right? This gives I minus I y x2, y2. I times minus I is minus I square is plus 1, right? And this is x1, x2 plus I y1, x2 minus I x1, y2 plus y1, y2. So x1, x2 plus y1, y2 plus I y1, x2 minus x1, y2. But this to cancel each other. So this is x2 square plus y2 square. x2 square plus y2 square, x1, x2 plus y1, y2 plus I, x2 square plus y2 square, y1, x2 minus x1, y2. So apparently C, right? So we just checked that the complex numbers are close to 4 basic arithmetic operations. That means we can define complex functions. We can define complex functions. This is a very important thing. So we can can define complex numbers because they are close to 4 basic arithmetic operations. And before I proceed, if we have a z, x plus I, y, x and y belongs to real number, we define complex conjugate and in Korean it's called when I was your age, it was called 공액복소수. But I don't know, somehow they changed the name, so it's 켤레복소수. So z times z complex conjugate is actually and we define as a magnitude of z. So magnitude is defined as cz. So maybe I can stop today here, just introducing the complex numbers, and we will have a continue next week. And let me check. Next Thursday is a holiday, but Wednesday we don't have a. Let me see. Oh. Do you know my favorite day for quiz in second semester is October 13, Friday. But unfortunately, we don't have a class on Thursday, right? And this year, October 13 is Sunday. So many harm. So we still have some time, so I'll also tell some history. Many horror movies, the theme is October 30, 10월 13일 금요일 is a theme of a horror movie, right? And actually, it dates back 1305, October 13, Friday. And the name of the Pope was Kronos the Fifth. The Pope, 교황, at the time, ordered arrest and execution of all Template in Europe. Are you familiar with the name Template 성당 기사단? So the particular day in history, and the name of the Pope, the 교황 was Kronos the Fifth, and he ordered arrest of and execution of all Templites throughout Europe, and then after few survived, And ever since then, October 13th, the Friday, is remembered as most, dark day. So that arises the theme of many horror movies. And maybe next class I will tell a little bit more about the history, but maybe just for now. But unfortunately, this semester we don't have a 13th Friday set for us to have a quiz. So, but that's it. So I'll stop here today, and then I'll let you prepare for the first quiz. And I hope you do well. I would say the level was not very difficult, but we'll be really busy. And there is one problem to calculate the angle between two vectors, but I don't think you will need a calculator. You don't need a calculator for that. So